Pavlo, and welcome to 500 Pearl Street. Today we're going to talk about an insider trading case, and it was an interview that I did with a guy named Garrett Bauer. Now Garrett is 44 years old, he lives in New York, and he was a day trader. He participated in an insider trading scheme that went on for 17 years, one of the longest documented in U.S. history. This insider trading scheme only included 3 people: a lawyer inside a prestigious law firm, a middleman who was a very good friend of Garrett Bauer's, and Garrett Bauer himself, who was the trader and did all the banking. I've detailed this entire story in a case study that I've done entitled Insider Trading, and it was all among friends. The interview took place in Garrett Bauer's Manhattan apartment. It was the same one that he was arrested in just some months earlier. He allowed me to come into his home, sit down and talk with him a while about some of the mistakes that he made. I think you'll find his answers to be very interesting, very candid, and very thought-provoking.
Well, I volunteer at the Holy Apostles Soup Kitchen, and I do that many days a week. I haven't been doing it as much in the last few months because I've been traveling so much for speeches and giving a lot of speeches, but since my speeches have been coming to an end, I've been working that back into my schedule. So I do that. I also volunteer at the Bowery Mission, where I teach former homeless adults English and math skills, and I do that on average once a week or so. I still, on Saturday afternoons, I make balloons for children with mental and physical disabilities. Before I got caught, I looked at it just like you would look at it, like someone who didn't commit the same crime that they were doing, like they're doing something different than me. It didn't affect me at all. It didn't scare me. I just thought I was doing something different. I didn't relate what they were doing to what I was doing, even though I was doing something very similar. I just didn't think about it at all. I just continued to do it, not thinking about the consequences at all. It's not as clear-cut when it happens. Well, I guess what I mean by that is that, you know, it started with me by just getting a phone call from a friend telling me to buy a stock where, you know, I didn't even believe him initially that he had good information on the stock. And I sort of just listened to him, not thinking about the consequences at all. And I don't think that's the way a lot of people commit crimes. They don't necessarily think, at least white-collar type of crimes or insider trading, you don't think about like what could happen. I met maybe about 20 years ago at that very first job where I worked in New York at the municipal bond company, Weisbeck and Greer. Ken worked in fixed income, I worked in municipal bonds, and he was basically my first friend in New York. We shared a space in a condominium in Long Island with a whole bunch of friends over the summer, and we became pretty good friends. He started cooperating soon after the FBI came to his house, and I think they obtained a search warrant for his house. They asked him about a lot of the trades that we did. They asked him specifically about some trades he did in his own personal account and some trades that I did. And from what I read, I mean, we haven't talked, so I don't really know all the exact details, but at that point he decided to turn me into the FBI and turn his other friend, the lawyer, into the FBI. About it, they saw it, and some of my friends have seen me make a tremendous amount of money just in front of them. One of my friends was here once when I made like $700,000 in about 10 minutes. Right. And she says, well, that's what my house just cost to build. And you know, so it also comes across when you read the newspaper and a lot of the articles that like that's sort of all I did is like basically sit home waiting for stock tips. And my friends were like thinking, well, that's not what I did. And some of their friends were talking to them saying that, well, Garrett just sat home waiting for stock tips and that's all he did all day. Right. So they wanted to explain to their friends that that's not what happened, right, trying to defend me to a degree. But, you know, people will believe what they want to believe. I wasn't thinking about guilty right away. When I first saw my lawyer, when he came to the jail where I was being held, I told him, yes, I did this, and you know, pretty much looks like they have all the information, so I didn't really seem to have a choice. I wasn't thinking about guilty, not guilty. I was saying, yes, I did it, just let's pay, I wanted to pay whatever penalty I needed to pay, or whatever fine or whatever jail sentence he had told me at that point I was looking at jail. I just wanted to try to admit that I did it, to go on and try to start my life all. I told him what I did, and he said, yes, that you are guilty of securities fraud, money laundering, obstruction of justice. I think I have a total of 34 points, but I'm getting a 3-point discount, 3 points off, because I decided to plead guilty and not go to trial. So that lowers your number. So right now it's 9 to 11 years, which is what the prosecution is asking for. I was in a maximum security prison, so that was pretty scary.
For a period of
5 days. But I remember when I met with the FBI agent, he was like, "Don't worry, Garrett, you're not going back to a place like that." But I still needed to know where I was going, which I still don't know at this point. But the more I learned about the unknown, what type of prison I might be going to, hopefully it'll be a minimum security prison. The more I've learned what the sleeping arrangements are like, what the food is like you can make phone calls, you can use your email. That's helped me feel somewhat more comfortable, and I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm trying to keep myself busy with my speeches, the soup kitchen, working on some projects for some schools, and I'm sure when things get close to that date where I'll have to go, I'm pretty sure it'll be a little more scary than it is right now. But right now I'm still in that surreal phase where, is it really going to happen? I have no idea what I'm going to do. Because
you're not allowed to trade after this, in essence. I mean, you can't work for a firm, but it would be much more difficult to get back into that kind of business.
Right, and that's actually one of the most surprising things of all of this that's happened. I loved trading so much. I've sat at my computer, in front of my computer every day. I read news, I read my Bloomberg. I traded every day. I knew what every stock in the market was doing. And right now I'm so detached. I would never take this time in the middle of the day when the market's open to not be watching CNBC.
I'll tell you, in talking to Garrett, he still is very hopeful, I won't say confident, very hopeful that he doesn't have to do much time in prison. He's looking at 9 to 11 years currently, and we'll just have to see. I'm working here at my hotel room, went down to Zuccotti Park today, and got some opinions about what people think of white-collar criminals. I can tell you it wasn't very positive.
$38 million he's inside trade, I would have him life sentence.
You do life?
Or I would try him for treason. He hurt United States citizens, which is technically considered treasonous in my book.
Insider trading, been doing it for 17 years and got $38 million in the bank. What do you think? What kind of sentence should he get?
Life in prison and then have to pay the $38 million back.
Insider trading is a crime.
You don't think it's a crime?
No. I'll tell you why I don't think it's a crime.
Knowledge is power.
No, I'll tell you why I don't think it's a crime. Because if I invest in a stock, right, I would study my stock and try to make sure it was as safe as possible.
Right.
All insider trading is doing is finding out the information that thieves don't want you to know.
Right.
So why is it that a thief doesn't go to jail for controlling the stocks and doing a dishonest thing, but me doing a smart thing and finding out what the thief knows and protecting myself, why is that a crime? Insider trading, hands down, has got to be one of the most harmless crimes in the history of man. Insider trading is brilliant.
They're recommending 9 to 11 years. What do you think about that?
I think you should have to forego all the money he made.
Yeah, he should take every single penny he has away from him. Everything.
Because he cheated, so it should be a like response. What's good of putting him in jail? He clearly knows how to make money.